Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the GBRC Reference Lab. This time we find ourselves at the Spa Francorchamps circuit for the GBRC 911 Carrera Cup. Tricky track. This one, I will admit, it took me a while to get down not only a quick time, but a clean time as well, as you can see. So, as always, I'll play the lap in full, and then I'll do a breakdown corner by corner. So, here we go. So there we are, a time of 2:26.578. Before we begin, I want to give a special birthday shout out to longtime GBRC member Seb. It is his birthday today, so happy birthday, mate. Hope you have a few drinks. And yeah, let's begin. So I want you guys to think of Spa as kind of like three different sections. There's an uphill section, there's the downhill section, and then there's kind of like the flat area before the finish. I think if you kind of break it up by that, it'll kind of help you guys visualize the circuit a little bit. It is a long course. There's a lot of details and stuff. That's kind of how I think of Spa. So here we are, breaking towards the first corner, the hairpin leading up to Eau Rouge. I am aiming to break just at the 100-meter board right here. Stay all the way to the left of the track if you can. It's important to hit your apex right here and gently feeding the throttle through the exit. So I'll just play it along. So just after the 100, I'm kind of braking. Full brakes. And then as you see, I'm kind of just trail braking into the apex. I'm letting the car settle. And then once I kind of see the exit, I'm gently feeding power. So now we're attacking up to Eau Rouge. This spot is very, very tricky. And I'm going to pause it right here. So, something that I learned from autocross that I found really, really helpful, because what kept happening for me is I kept clipping this curb in the middle too harshly, and it kept upsetting the car, and it kept getting me off track per GBRC limits and also the game's limits as well at the top of the hill. Um, you want to look ahead. You kind of want to look where you want to aim the car, which you kind of want to aim right where the mouse is right now. So if you look more ahead, more so your braking point, it will kind of help you dictate the line and help you carry through the rest of the corner. As really this part's important, as the latter part you kind of just pegged full tilt, let the gravity and the climb of the hill kind of like do its work, give you extra downforce. It'll slow the car down a little bit, but that's expected. So basically, I'm aiming right here, and I'm gonna brake just as I finish the curb over here. But it's not gonna be a lot of brake. It's just gonna be a quick jab. I'm gonna get back on the throttle immediately, but kind of like halfway. And as you see, kind of looking ahead, I'll be where I want to be. Important to not clip this curb. It's gonna upset the line going up the hill. So just after the curb, you see, just start to brake a little bit. I'm already turning the wheel. Not a lot though. I don't want to hit all this curve. I want to use some of it, but not all of it, as you're about to see. And I got the A Rouge pretty cleanly. Now we're going to fast forward ahead. This spot's a little tricky because there's really no reference point to use the brakes. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of judging between the 150 to the 100 based on how much speed I'm carrying to dictate where I want to brake. You ideally want to be in the middle between the two. If you're under the draft, I would probably suggest just after the 150 meter board, but on a clean air lap, you want to judge somewhere in between the middle. I shift down to second. I personally think it's actually not necessary. It's kind of just a habit of mine. I think staying a third and just letting the car coast through the corner over here will be fine. So I'll play the lap. See, I kind of shifted third immediately. I think I could stay there, kind of save myself the work of an extra upshift. So I'm on the curbs over here. You definitely want to use the curbs through the S's up here. So I'm clipping here. I'm clipping over here. I don't want to track out too much because you want to set yourself up for the last right-hander starting the downhill portion. Now, basically it's the hairpin, Eau Rouge, down the straight to the S's basically, and then basically at the end of the S's, that's what I would consider the end of the uphill section. So some curb here. See, I'm kind of staying mid-track. I'm trying not to, basically I want to be over here as much as possible, but you know, with it being so short, you can only do so much. So just get to the left as best you can to set yourself up. Again, use the curbs. Guide a car through. Full power. And now we're starting our downhill section now. This part is pretty deceiving that you think you could brake, but remember you're going downhill, so you're carrying more speed. So theoretically, you need more braking distance. Now, I kind of just use just before the start of this curb as my braking point. And basically, as soon as I'm on the brakes, I'm already tracking towards the apex because I know the car is going to push me out wide. And as you're going to see, I kind of just let the car coast. With my setup of the car actually kind of rotates a little bit. So I kind of just feed in the throttle a little bit gently just to make it neutral. And I kind of just hold it until I see the exit and then go for it. See, pushes you out wide. It's rotating a little bit, giving it some gas. Now I see the exit. Now over here is another important turn because you kind of want to maximize the straights. Again, there's really no braking reference points, but as you could kind of fakely see, this is little red pole, I guess, or something over here. I kind of just use that as a reference. I just quickly tap on the brakes, just give it a little bit of throttle, use all the curb over here, and then power out, heading towards the next corner. Now this turn is also going to be very tricky because even though it's down the hill and you're carrying a lot of speed, it is also slightly off camber. And if you mess up the entry over here, it's going to affect you the rest of the lap, especially as Carlos mentioned on the forums. If you get on the green stuff, there's no grip at all. And I would probably suggest that if you do find yourself in that situation, get to the tarmac immediately. Because you don't want to be on this very long. So I brake just at the 50-meter board. I want to aim for this apex, but I'm kind of just off the throttle until I know that I'm on the outer curves after this corner over here. And then basically you just want to be, again, going right for the apex and just feeding it throttle. So braking at the 50. I come a little wide over here, but that's okay. I hit the curb nicely. I was able to track back, hit that curb on the outside, getting all the speed. Now this one's a little bit tricky, because braking just before the curbs, like a couple corners ago, is going to push you into the green stuff over here. So you kind of want to judge. There's a shadow kind of on the track, and that's kind of where you want to brake. So if I go, oh, I was actually braking way before that. So we'll play this again. Okay. So basically, right before the banner over here hits your windshield banner, use that as a braking marker. I know it's kind of be hard. You kind of just have to do it by feel for the most part. But it appears that I'm braking just as this is about to meet the windshield banner. Again, using the curbs, keeping tight. You want to keep a nice and tidy line through here. And then over here, just kind of braking about a car length before the curb. Over here, again, another section that if you get on the green curbs, there's going to be no grip. It's going to spit you out wide. You definitely want to keep a nice and tidy line. And then over here, you don't need to brake, but you can't take this full chat either. You kind of have to lift and coast a little bit. Throttle modulation is key here, and this is very important. I've actually crashed here a few times and practiced that. Don't get on the green stuff, as Carlos mentioned, or you're not going to have any grip. So see, I just half throttle application. That's that. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit because it's basically all straight. This kind of took me a while to master. The last hard left before the final chicane. Even though Carlos said don't get on the green stuff, I'm kind of like halfway on there just to kind of arc myself a little bit, as there is some grip, but not too much. I actually just lightly brake, shift down into turn 5, and kind of just nurse the car through this corner. As you see in the replay, I actually almost binned it. I had to do a couple steering adjustments. But definitely just want to coast through here. Even though it's a little bit of a straight, it's more important to set myself up for the chicane rather than have dirty tires, so I'll play it. See, a little bit of the correction. And then heading over here, you just want to brake right before the 150 board. There is kind of like a nice little white line here you could also use as a reference if you're carrying more speed than I was able to. Which in a couple laps I was able to actually carry more speed through there. So you kind of just have to judge based on how much speed you're carrying, the draft, etc., where you want to brake. But ideally, I would want to say in between this white line over here and the 150-meter board. So I'll play that a lot. And again, you want to clip the curb there. You want to clip the curb again there, full power, and that's your lap of Spa Frankenshop. So I hope you guys found this useful, and I'll see you guys soon.